Unlike 30 years ago, homosexuals coming of age today are much freer to admit their sexualities, but their freedom comes with a cost. Homosexuality is an issue that has divided America. The 1960s and the years forward were the most difficult for the LGBTQ community. For example, solicitation of same-sex couples were against the law in New York City. Because of this, they started to freely express themselves and socialize in gay bars and clubs. Eventually, the New York State Liquor Authority punished any bar that served alcohol to known or suspected LGBT individuals because of the argument that the simple gathering of homosexuals was disorderly. This was overturned in 1966, but LGBT couples holding hands, kissing, or showing any signs of PDA was still illegal. The harassment of gay bars continued, but many bars, a part of the mafia, started operating without liquor licenses. One of these bars was Stonewall in Greenwich Village. Although not in the best conditions, Stonewall was a key institution for gay youth. During my interview with David Carter, he described Stonewall as a very popular bar with many gay youth. It was large, cheap, and allowed drag queens entry, opposed to the many clubs that didn't. Many homeless gay youth shoplifted and panhandled to pay the entry fee. It was also one of, if not the only, gay bar that allowed dancing. There were still raids, but corrupt cops usually tipped off the bar before the raid so that they had time to clear the bar of any illegal activities before the cops came. On June 28, 1969, however, they weren't tipped off that time. Of course, the police raided the bar and arrested 13 people. Among those people were employees and people who violated the state's gender-appropriate dress law, where female officers took people suspected of cross-dressing into the restroom and checked their sex. Instead of scattering, they hung around outside as they became increasingly agitated. People were aggressively manhandled, and at one point, a cop hit a lesbian over the head while forcing her into a paddy wagon. This incited onlookers to act and motivate them to start throwing bottles, pennies, cobblestones, and other things at the police. After a few minutes, a riot broke out and police officers, a few prisoners, and a Village Voice journalist barricaded themselves in the bar. Soon after, the mob tried burning the bar down, but the flames were put out and the people inside were rescued. The protests continue on for 5 more days in the same area, and thousands of people joined in the riots. This was the Stonewall Riots. In 1996, a law was passed banning same-sex marriage. On June 26, 2015, the Supreme Court struck down on same-sex marriage laws and made it legal in all 50 states. In that same year, our 44th president, Barack Obama, declared the Stonewall Inn a National Historic Monument. Stonewall was very monumental in both the 20th and 21st century. It has had several documentary adaptations on it, and a year later, Marsha P. Johnson, a monumental figure in the riots, and Sylvia Rivera founded the Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries, or the STAR House. It was a gay, gender nonconforming, and transgender street activist organization. They still have a long fight ahead, as President Trump has made a ban on transgender people serving in the military. The courthouse is considering making it legal for employers to let go of LGBT workers because of their sexuality, and in some states, it's illegal for same-sex couples to adopt children. But they believe that one day, they will regain all the rights they believe they deserve.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am stay-at-home for you called Zoe. You can count your karma and divide your goals. You can shake and you can rattle. You can rock and roll. You can be a Clark Kent or a Lois or an Alice down a hole. You can be a vampire on a mountain with the heart of stone black coal. You can be a leather angel on a sleek black Harley bike, or a redhead screaming faggot, or a dazzling dyke. You can lock yourself in a closet in a grinding stove, but it really doesn't matter if you ain't got soap.
Is the homosexual classified as a medical case, as a psychological case? Let's have some general statement of what your interpretation would be of what produces that particular type of approach to life.
Well, this is quite a controversial subject, even in the medical profession. There are many, many outstanding theories, and I think there are many individual variations in the interpretation of those basic theories. For instance, there are those physicians who feel that this is definitely a neurotic problem. There are others who feel it's a glandular problem. Many feel it's hereditary. Others feel that it may be caused by other factors. Now, for myself, I feel from the many years of work and intense almost specialization in understanding homosexuals, I feel that a homosexual is first of all a human being. Now that may seem to be a rather elementary statement, but I very much believe in the individual adjustment problem, and I think that homosexuality may have many different kinds of causes, and each individual case needs to be studied and interpreted in its own merits. And I do not look upon homosexuality as a neurotic problem, but more a basic personality pattern reaction. Just as some people prefer blondes, others prefer brunettes, I think the fact that a given person may prefer a love of the same sex is their personal business.